Hi, I'm Jess. I currently live in an apartment with my roommate, and here is my studio space.
You were the best in show for silkscreen print, and congratulations on that.
Thank you.
There are over 300 prints in the show, and I can't remember how many artists from how many countries. I think that's on the website somewhere, but I can't remember any of that stuff. So anyway, so why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and about your background as an artist?
Yeah, so I grew up in British Columbia, and now I reside in Calgary, Alberta. I moved here to go to school and actually just graduated this past semester, which was a little interesting.
Hmm.
So my mom's an artist, which kind of, I guess, inspired me growing up to do art and all that kind of thing. Um, I actually went to school for business. So I've got my major in marketing, and then I did a minor in visual arts, which
Okay.
I enjoyed.
Was that at the University of Calgary?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess with your mother being an artist, you had lots of support in pursuit of this career.
It was, yes. So yes and no.
Okay.
Um, they were very, like, my parents were both very supportive of me doing art. However, when I went to university, it was more so they want me to be able to have a career and support myself, which makes total sense. But yeah, I think that now that I've kind of focused both on marketing and art, that they're very supportive that I've got a good balance.
Yeah. And with your training, with your minor, was your minor a Bachelor of Fine Arts? Or,
It was just a minor in art, so I don't actually have
okay.
a bachelor.
What attracted you to printmaking in particular?
I took my first printmaking course in 2016, and I think that I really liked the graphic style of screen print. And we tried a bunch of different techniques, and it was something that I had never done before.
And how long have you been making prints?
So then from 2016, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's hard math for some of you. Uh, how long did it take you to feel that you were being successful with the medium?
I think that my first few projects were very learning based and kind of
Mm.
figuring out how each technique worked. And then I think my final two projects for that class, I really stepped it up, and I was really pleased with the prints that I was able to make, and the my class liked them, and other people, like my friends and family, really loved them. So I think that's probably, I started feeling more comfortable with it.
Okay. Do you work alone, or are you part of a collective studio?
I work alone. This is actually my little office slash studio.
Okay. Yeah. As I mentioned, you won the prize for Best in Show for silkscreen printmaking. What is it particularly about silkscreen that attracts you to that medium?
Like I mentioned before, I think it's the style of kind of the graphic bold colors that you can create, or like the ombre effect.
Hmm.
I really enjoy that, and it's kind of like the best way that I can explain it to people who aren't in art is like it's a stencil.
Hmm.
Um, so I think that that's kind of uh, what I'm drawn to.
Yeah, yeah. So, what was the specific inspiration for your print, and what can you tell us about it?
Yeah, so this print was part of a very large series that was kind of like my final project for a class I took in fall of last year.
Okay.
And there were, I think, over 60 different variations of prints. And the idea behind them was kind of to test out different color combinations, because I've always been more of a analogous color. Those are kind of my favorites. So I wanted to step outside of my comfort zone and kind of try different combinations with colors. And it also kind of had a statistics aspect where it was kind of like there was the first layer, and then I did a second layer in two different colors. So half of them were 1 and 2, and then I split those and did two more colors with all of them, and it created a very large collection of works that I actually exhibited at my first solo exhibition in January at the school.
So color is very important to your work, and I get a sense that process is also very important to your work. Are those kind of themes that sort of come out in your work a lot, or is that sort of a focus of your work, or is that sort of an engine behind how you create things?
I think process and color are two aspects, but growing up in BC, I've always been very close to nature and everything kind of in the natural world. So coming out to a bigger city was definitely a big change. And I think that I try to incorporate nature any way that I can. And in this series, it's actually all of the little patterns are actually based around bacteria, which is kind of funny to think about nowadays because I created this in the fall. So I think that process, I do really enjoy the process of actually creating art instead of just doing something like on an iPad doing a digital drawing. I like hand making something.
Yeah. Do you feel that working in printmaking has sort of helped you sort of develop your self-expression or your creative voice in any way?
I actually work with a lot of different mediums.
Yeah.
I do drawing and painting as well as printmaking. So I think that the selection of all three kind of give me the range to kind of create my voice, and I'm still trying to find my voice artistically for sure.
Yeah. Well, I think many artists are, no matter how far into their career they may be, there's always questions in the back of your mind, you know. So the subject matter that you use and the imagery, I guess, is probably drawn more from, partly from the process, but also from your background, as you say, you know, representing nature a little bit while living in an urban environment. And does silkscreen in particular help you to communicate that? Is that like you said, you made many variations in terms of color and composition. Is it a medium that you find very flexible in that regard?
Yes, I think that for this specific project, silkscreen was really the only way for me to complete this project with the different colors and the layers. I think that it really was beneficial to me for that.
Okay. Just a couple more questions, because we can't put hours and hours on the website. But just out of curiosity, what inspired you to take part in the Biennale, in the mini print show in Ottawa?
Yeah, one of my professors actually kind of wrote up a little list of things that I should look for and shows I should submit to. So this one, I think, was the first actual solely printmaking show that I sent some stuff to, and it was a little nerve-wracking because you never know when you send your art if it's going to get accepted. But yeah, it was really fun. I'm definitely glad that I sent in some stuff.
Well, the jury was several local printmakers, so I think obviously you're doing something right and should take it from that. If you were to give advice to other artists, young or old, that might be thinking about trying printmaking, what would you tell them?
I think that the two that I started with, which were screen print and relief printmaking, I think those are a good place to start. And then once you're kind of comfortable with those, you can move forward and kind of experiment with some other techniques.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jess. I currently live in an apartment with my roommate, and here is my studio space. So we have a little hallway here with some old screen prints. Leads into a small office / studio area. I've got my art desk here, some relief printmaking stuff, and that is my marketing desk. I also have a flat file that holds all my larger screen prints and such. And then some shelves up here to dry paintings on. I've also got lots of storage.